Hello, everybody, and welcome to another weekly rundown of our indicators. My name is Nathan Batchelor, and I'll be your host for today. So before I begin, I'm just going to read through a quick disclaimer. Please feel free to read along as well. Beyond Trader LLC is strictly a research publishing firm. The information we publish is based on our opinions plus our quantitative models, statistical and financial data, and independent research. This service is not registered with any financial regulatory agency such as the SEC or any other organization or governmental body. By using our platform or our services, you acknowledge that we do not provide recommendations or advice. Alternative asset classes are volatile investments and carry significant risk. Please do your own research before making any financial decisions. Okay, so let's begin and get to our indicators and what's been going on this week. Obviously, Bitcoin's been moving higher and our indicators continue to look good. So let's go through what's happening with Bitcoin. And also this week, I'm going to touch on Ethereum a little bit because we're starting to see some interesting things there according to our indicators. So let's start with Biyond Atlas. In case you didn't know, Biyond Atlas has an inverse relationship with price. So if Atlas is moving down, as you can see here, it's bullish. And the inverse relationship there you can clearly see. So at the moment, we've got some great things going on with Atlas, namely, we've crossed underneath the 100 threshold. So basically, if you're sitting at about 100, that means that the price is neutral. As soon as you cross underneath there, then there's a strong bullish inclination in the market, according to our indicators that make up Atlas. So why is it so important? Well, it's actually, since the correction has began in Bitcoin at the start of the year, it's actually the first time we've dropped underneath 100, and you can see that the momentum in this indicator has been moving strongly down, and that has matched perfectly with the recovery in Bitcoin. So what we wanted to see is that this is a genuine move higher in Bitcoin. And how do we know that it wouldn't be a genuine move higher in Bitcoin? Is if Atlas started to struggle to move underneath 100 and it started to reverse. So at the moment, it's moving nicely lower every day, which is a good sign that we've got some good bullish momentum in the market. So moving into next week, we'd like to see a steady drop, and ideally, we'd like to see Atlas above the 100,000 area and also moving towards its all-time high before it gets too far into the green zone. Now you can see here, every time we've moved too far into the green zone, it's normally some type of indication that the price is topping out. So a nice move into the green zone in the high 100,000s and then a continued move higher to new all-time highs would be a great sign. And obviously with our price targets that you can obviously check on our website and my newsletters, I'm looking for a run towards 140,000 initially, and then we'll see what happens after that. So ideally, Atlas is going to continue to move high, continue to move lower, and the price is going to continue to move higher. So all eyes on Atlas this week, and I think so far so good. Having a look at our other indicators, and let's have a look at the long-short ratio. Now, last week I noted that there was a short squeeze in the market, and that could trigger the price of Bitcoin to go higher. So this short squeeze has been going on for quite a long time now. So two scenarios here. In other words, we could see that this could end and it can quickly snap back, and that could cause a correction in Bitcoin. If we're looking at where that correction could go to, my technical analysis says that we shouldn't really go too far under 94,000, or we could see an even deeper drop towards 90,000, which would be a bit nasty and annoying. But I kind of think that this short squeeze is going to last for a while, and we're going to challenge above 100,000 quite easily, I think, before we start to see some major correction. That's the scenario that I'm hoping for. And if you track my technical analysis, you'll know that we're currently in a wave 3 of Elliott wave on some of the reasonably higher time frames, such as the 12-hour and daily. So I think there is a reasonable chance that we could reach maybe 103, 106,000, something like that, or maybe even a new all-time high before we started to see some type of really decent correction in the market. And that would obviously depend on this short squeeze and if it's going to last, because the more bearish traders get, the more likelihood is that the market is just going to continue to run away from them. So that would be the scenario that I'm looking for next week. Moving on to our other flagship indicator, and that's Vanguard. So Vanguard, as you can see now, is turned a little bit cautious because we've had a correction in the market, but it doesn't really mean an awful lot at the moment because we have been seeing some good signs. So ideally, we want to see the weekly start to change into the blue color. That's the big signal for us that a major move is coming. And we can see since this correction have began, we've kind of been flooded by the orange and the red color, or engulfed rather. So what we'd like to see, and probably a move above 100,000 would turn it nicely into the blue, and we want to see that some nice sustainable green and blue candles going forward, and that's letting us know that it's time to buy and be in the market. We really need to see that soon because that's going to complement our other key indicator, and that's Atlas. So when they're both aligning, it's a very, very powerful signal in the market, and that's what we're watching for. So if we drill down into the time frames, as I've mentioned before on various occasions, probably the most reliable indicators that we've got are Atlas and Vanguard. And on Vanguard, we particularly like the weekly, the 3-day, and the 12-hour time frames. If we look at the 3-day, it's still bullish, which is a great sign that we are simply going to continue higher. So so far so good, and we've just moved on to the next 3-day close. So hopefully this will continue, and we will easily start to challenge towards 100,000 area. If you have a look at the 12-hour, it seems to be getting a bit more cautious, and we started to see some orange. So maybe we're going to get a bit more of a correction there, because typically if we zone in on this area here, if we start to see that the price is moving higher, but it's actually moving higher on orange or red bars, that's typically what we call divergence. So maybe we might need to retest into this price zone here, maybe around 94,000, as I said, before we start to move higher. And that makes a lot of sense for me on many levels. So, yep, I think the general theme is for Bitcoin next week is that we could get a bit of a correction, and we don't want to see it slipping too much under 94,000. But our indicators are generally looking pretty positive, and ideally we want to see a move into 100,000 in the next couple of days and weeks. Moving on now, and we'll go back to Atlas, and we'll start to see what Ethereum is saying. So if you go onto our website, you'll see that Vanguard can track any asset class, but unfortunately for Atlas at the moment, we've only got these two coins at the moment, and that's Ethereum and Bitcoin. So why not take a look at what's going on with Ethereum at the moment, according to Atlas. So it's pretty similar to Bitcoin, but it's not actually as bullish, and that makes a lot of sense. So we can see inverse indicator, it's moved into the red zone, the bearish zone, for some time as a correction went on, but we started to reverse lower out of the red zone, and we're moving very close to that 100 level that we need to confirm the bullishness in it. And you can see it's matched really well with the turn here. So sustainability underneath the 100,000 level is going to be key for Ethereum, and I really want to see that happen, because I'd like to see ETH back towards 3,000, and that will be a good indication that we'll see Bitcoin probably close to 140,000 as well. I think Ethereum's got some significant upside, so we're really hoping that we're going to move down underneath 100 next week. So it's definitely worth checking out, and this is a very, very good indicator for that to check. Let's have a look at the long-short ratio. I will say already, in terms of Ethereum, we don't typically see a huge short squeeze in Ethereum. Sorry, I've got the wrong coin there. It's mainly Bitcoin. We tend to see this overwhelming short squeeze in the market, but at the moment we can see that there's a bias of about 2-to-1 in terms of short. So very rarely do we get a 1-to-1 or even underneath that. So yeah, at the moment there's definitely correlation going on with them, or an inverse correlation with the traders that are trying to short Ethereum and the price there. So long may that continue, and I think we've got some room to run on that. Having a look at Vanguard in regard to Ethereum, let's just check that out now and see how it's looking and performing. I think it's generally going to be looking pretty bearish, but you can see the weekly is the key time frame here. So let's have a look. Even though the other time frames don't look as bad as Bitcoin at the moment, that could suggest that it's got some more strength in it. But let's have a look at the weekly, and we can see it's substantially more bearish than Bitcoin because the recovery has been less. But this indicator, like I say, it really needs to start to turn green and blue for us to have a strong inclination that the recovery is going to be sustainable. So next week we'll be watching that. I would presume, in case you're interested, that a weekly blue candle, I think we probably need to see a move around about 2,800 for it to turn blue or green, because Ethereum is just so oversold at the moment. Looking at the other timeframes that we like to look at, ideally the 3-day and the 12-hour. The 3-day is turning blue, so that's a great sign. Do we have any bullish divergence? Not really, i.e. We've been engulfed during this downtrend in red and orange, so we haven't got any key divergence areas, but the chart for me suggests around 2,800 and maybe 2,200 in the interim. So the fact that we're turning blue on the 3-day, that's a great sign. Hopefully we'll see some green there as well. Having a look on the 12-hour, I would suggest it's probably a bit more cautious, but it's not looking too bad. I'd love to see some green there. But at the moment, the blue is overwhelming at the moment. So again, that's a great sign. And I can also see some divergence, i.e. the price has flipped lower, but we've still got some blue there. And that divergence goes up to around 2,500. So that's a great sign that we have least, or that I think Ethereum is at least going to go towards that area as an interim target anyway. And I think at the moment, many people will take that because that probably means Bitcoin will be going well above 100,000 unless it moves on its own, which I don't think that it's going to at the moment. So overall, our indicators are looking pretty good. And if we base this solely on Atlas at the moment, which is the one that's leading, I would say that we don't have anything to worry about with this current pullback, and let's hope that the 94,000 area holds, and let's continue to track the steady descent in Atlas and hope that Vanguard is going to start to post a green or blue weekly candle soon. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you again next week.